This is the NFL show to be named later.
Foosball and whatever you call it with them gargantuans.
Starring TJ Weber, Zach Zook, and Big Web. Brought to you by Brews on the Balcony.
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the NFL show to be named later. I'm TJ Weber. Alongside is the one and only Zach Zook. And on the phone, look out. He's back after about a 6-week hiatus. It's Big Web. Big Web, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, guys. Doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Good to have you back. It's going to be a lot of fun the last 3 weeks of the NFL season. Zach, we had a lot of stuff go on last week. And honestly, a lot of picks that went right for some of us and a lot of picks that went completely wrong for some of us. The biggest story to me was definitely the Miami comeback win against New England. The last play, the fact that they did the old hook and ladder a couple times and got the ability to get in the end zone. It was one of the most interesting things I think I've seen in the Bill Belichick era. This easily then tells me, and this is a little preview for my picks later on, that the Patriots are going to roll this week. I just already feel like it's going to be pissed off Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and look out. It's going to be crazy.
Rivalry week for them. I don't know how these guys manage to play each other every year. They always have the same finish in the division, which is usually first. That's why, but it's the annual Steelers-Pats this week. It'll be a good one. Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, and it was, honestly, last week was one of those weeks where you saw a lot of upsets that could be coming. Again, I mentioned that stat last week with Miami and New England. They just never seem to be the same Patriots team in Miami. And to be honest, I thought the offense was going to struggle more than the defense, but it was opposite. New England scored. Tom Brady played one of his best games I've seen of the season against Miami, but then the Dolphins would just march down the field and looked like a team that could score at will, and they did pretty much, and then ended up winning the game. So that got really interesting throughout that week. And then really, but the other big surprise to me would have to be the Rams and the way they performed against Chicago. Only scored 6 points in the game. A lot of people had a feeling that was going to be a defensive game, which it was. I, to be honest, thought the over was going to hit. I thought it was going to be offense all the way through, even with two good defenses. I just thought those offenses are so good, they'll find ways to score. It didn't happen. Honestly, it was a pretty boring game for a while in the first half especially, and Jared Goff just didn't look good. Gurley never got going, and that Bears defense just showed that they're the real deal.
Yeah, well, we talked about the last week of just how much we were going to find out about both teams. Could the Bears hang with the big boys? Could the Rams, the West Coast Rams, come play in the cold? And emphatically, we received an answer. Now, here's the issue, and this is why you can't overreact to this game or take too much away from it. Yes, the Bears are legit. They're absolutely going to contend in the playoffs. They overcame awful quarterback play by Mitch Trubisky, several turnovers in that game, and still found a way to win it by more than one score, 9 points, I believe, 15 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really weird score overall.
Right. So the only issue with that is, guess what? The Rams and the Saints, they're not going to have to play in the cold because the NFC is going to go through Los Angeles, and should it not, the only road game LA would have to play would be at the Saints.
Right.
So the Bears are going to have to go to them and win, and regardless of what you think about the Rams or Goff after that performance, it's so going to be a different story if those two teams meet up again in the Coliseum. So I was really impressed with the Bears' defense. They are for real, and it'll be interesting to see the Packers play them this weekend. Just a really great game to watch overall.
I think we found out that Goff does not like pressure. I think Chicago was able to put it on him, but they also had good coverage behind the rush. And you're going to see everybody coming at Goff now the rest of the year. Even like Philly this week. They're going to bring it on defense. Of course, I hear Wentz isn't playing. We'll get into that game later. Mm-hmm. But no, when they get aggressive against Goff, that might be the way to go at the Rams now. Just bring everything to the kitchen sink and try to blitz the hell out of him, because he was uncomfortable and really throwing some bad balls in Chicago.
Yeah, so obviously back and forth. That game was one of the bigger surprises for me. And to be honest, I'll put it out there. I think the Rams may be a little bit overrated. And what I mean by that, they're a very good football team, but everybody thought they were unbeatable. Everybody thought that they were going to roll to the Super Bowl the way they started out the season. The game against New Orleans really didn't tell me much because they did play well and they did score with New Orleans all the way through, but they've given up points to a lot of random teams. I mean, the Seahawks this year, which honestly they played a lot better than I expected them to, but just kind of laid an egg against them. The way they played in a big game in Soldier Field. I mean, I know that they could have home field advantage for a good portion of the playoffs, as Zach mentioned, but still, the fact that they just kind of just play that way against the Bears just shows that they obviously have gaps, and that defense isn't as good as you might think it is. And when the defense is still top-notch, Goff can still make mistakes. So I don't know how perfect the Rams really are, and I don't think they're definitely not the number one team, in my eyes at least, in the NFL anymore. I still think it's the Saints, even though they've shown some signs of wear and tear here and there, and honestly had a big surprise against Tampa for a while in the first half of that game, especially last week. So your thoughts are always welcome, by the way. We are part of the Brews on the Balcony podcast family. You can follow us on Twitter at Balcony Brews Pod, and to be honest, all social media at Balcony Brews Pod. Feel free to leave us a comment. Let us know how you like the podcast, whether it's the Brews on the Balcony podcast or the NFL podcast. We love feedback. And also make sure you leave a voicemail on any thoughts you may have for the upcoming weeks in the NFL. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty. 314-877-8597. Once again, that number, 314-877-8597. If you leave us a voicemail and give us a take, we'll probably play it, break it down, maybe make fun of you if you make a bad pick, because that's what we do to each other. So, gentlemen, going to Week 14, or I should say going to Week 15, going back to Week 14 to kind of recap everything. First of all, I want to just let Zach Zook know that he owes me a milkshake. Dallas did beat Philly straight up last week. No worries. He got cocky, and I tell you what, old Dallas did what they do, and they played well. And it did go to overtime, Zach. I'll give you that one. It wasn't easy, but yeah, I like cookie dough shakes, just to let you know.
Cookie dough shakes. I was going to see what your preference was. Are you a half and half kind of guy? Do you like Reese's? What do you like mix in there? But cookie dough. All right, we'll get you a cookie dough shake, and we'll get that taken care of in the next week or two. But yeah, not only does Philly let me down in the money line bet, just the straight up, because they gave up a touchdown in OT, they don't even cover for me, so my lock misses again. Big bummer.
Tough.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Go pound sand, Amari Cooper, and thanks John Gruden for shafting me again.
Hey, just remember, you can't get cookie dough through a straw. Let's just get straight on.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, no shout out, no free ad, Steak and Shake though. It's tough. They need to break that cookie dough down a little bit more. So yeah, well, I'll take that milkshake. I felt good about that pick, but Dallas definitely scared me for a while. If we go to last week though, with the panel, I led the way again. I mean, it's just a normal thing now, folks. It's just how it works every week. I got 8. Zach right behind me was 7, and Big Web, tough. He got 5. So we go to the overall standings. I am the first one from the panel to break 100. I'm at 102 total wins this season. Zach right behind me at 97. Big Web, though, right behind him at 96. So again, folks, remember, we don't end after Week 17. We continue throughout the playoffs, so this is going to be good. It's going to be a lot of time still to pick. Anything can happen. The winner of Week 13, my mother-in-law, Tammy Wrestler, gets 12 wins. 12 wins. So she is now number 1 in the standings. I mean, just comes out of nowhere and just says, see you guys later.
Yeah.
Her first year in the Pick'em. We've had Pick'ems in my old radio shows before. This is her first time involved, and she's watching football. She's talking smack to me. She's texting me all this stuff like, oh, great pick on the Lions, idiot. No, she doesn't say that, but basically poking fun here and there. She's got 111 wins. 111 wins. That is the third week that she's had double-digit wins so far. She's up by 4. The next closest is Matt Jameson, who we mentioned last week was the first one to break 100. He's at 107 in second place, but 4 back. That's a 4-win cushion. I mean, that's a pretty big margin for 1 week.
Yeah, and Jameson was the leader last week, right? He took a 5, and
yeah, it was rough.
Your mother-in-law took a 12. Like, what a huge point swing.
Huge swing. Huge 7-point swing right there. And then you got Colby Wedwick, who's in third with 106. Blake Stumpf, Mark Hessler tied at 4 at 105. And then tied for 6th, you got myself and Zach Daly at 102. And the last of the 100s, we have in 8th place Jordan Shrimp and Kyle Stumpf, both with 100 points. So it's getting interesting. And right now, as Dad mentioned, Tammy Wrestler currently the leader for the NFL jersey. Again, it goes through the Super Bowl, though. Anything can happen.
I wonder what quarterback she's probably a Tom Brady jersey.
I don't know. She hasn't talked to. I don't even know she has set teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, does she root for any?
I mean,
any
she kind of. I think she definitely knows what she's picking, and she knows who's good and who's not. But I don't think she's got a set team she likes. You know what I mean?
Sometimes think as these things go, the less you know, the better.
Yeah.
The more I watch basketball, the worse my March Madness bracket ends up being.
Oh,
I just wing it, I do the best.
Let me tell you something that's gonna piss off Big Web a little bit. My wife, Laura Weber, she's tied with Big Web. Not only did she miss a full week and got 0 in week 3, but also she claimed the other day she has no idea what she's talking about and just picked randomly.
Based on uniform colors, how some people do it.
I just go, that hurts. I mean, like she told me that, I go, that just hurts me.
Yeah.
The fact that you're still in the running here. But
she's ahead of me, I think, in the total standings, isn't she?
She's right behind you. You're at 97, and her and Dad are at 96.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah,
let's just remember, boys. I can't pick all the games. I can pick some of the games.
Sure. Well, I tell you what, the pick 4 pool.
The ones that I picked to pick.
Well, right? And I'll say the best 4 plays of the week. You're still on fire, 31 and 25. It's over 50%. He was 2-2 last week. I mean, the guy wins games. You know, the set picks.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you. I'm buying it.
Go ahead. Yeah. You're there. You're right there.
Yep.
So,
it's going to be interesting. Last 3 weeks, it's going to be exciting. We have to just keep plugging away.
That's right. So once again, Big Web's best 4 plays, as I mentioned, 2-2 last week. New Orleans did cover late. Chargers did not. Rams did not, and Dallas did. So he goes 2-2. That touchdown was big, though. If Dallas wins by a field goal, Big Web's 1-3. They get that overtime touchdown. Amari Cooper, 3 touchdowns, right, last week? Unbelievable. Yeah. What a trade for them, by the way.
I heard some stats about Amari Cooper that just blew my mind.
Really?
Something like he adds like 400 in the neighborhood of 440 receiving yards since he was traded, like in the last 5 weeks or something like that.
Is that right?
And most of it's in the last 3 weeks. And he's got like 5 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. I mean, the guy's just on another level right now.
What are they since he's been in Dallas? Like 3-1 or something? I mean, isn't it?
They lost the first game against the Tennessee Titans. He got traded during the Dallas bye week. And if you remember, Oakland had a bye week, so he rested that week. They traded him to Dallas. He then had Dallas's bye week, didn't play.
2 weeks off.
Yeah, 2 full weeks off. Then he played against the Tennessee Titans. They lost that game. We all thought they sucked, and Jason Garrett was going to get fired. They haven't lost since.
Amazing. I mean, it's unbelievable to see Dallas play this way. I mean, to be honest, I thought Prescott was overrated after his rookie season, the way he played last year. Zeke is going to do his thing. I knew that, but I'm just like, this team has nothing. The defense is playing unbelievable. So watch the Dallas Cowboys. That team's going to be fun to watch. So there you go. Go ahead.
Real quick on Amari Cooper, I just pulled up the stats. With the Oakland Raiders, 6 games, 280 yards and 1 touchdown. With the Dallas Cowboys through 6 games, 642 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, a huge trade. Who'd they give away, by the way? Who was that
They gave
trade?
away a first-round pick.
That was it, though. But, I mean, still a first-rounder. But it's Amari
They
Cooper.
might have given up they might have swapped picks or something like that. I can't really remember. I just know that people were kind of getting on the Cowboys a little bit for giving up a first for a wide receiver. But Jerry has the famous quote, right? Yeah, I've never overpaid for a premium.
Hey, go for it. I mean, that's a big-time trade for them, and Cooper's still got a lot of talent. So
really
hey,
good.
Tip the cap to the Dallas Cowboys. Last thing we have before we move on to the Week 15 picks is our locks of the week. So, so last week, Zach loses another one. Zach, you're falling off, bud. I think you're 0-3 in the last 3 weeks.
I think I've lost 4 in a row.
Is
I
it
was
4 in a row?
8-2. I don't think I've won one since. What am I now?
You were 8-2.
Yeah. What am I now? 8-6?
8-6.
Jeez.
He had Philly plus 4.5. Tough. They lost on a touchdown. Should have been a field goal.
That's
if
tough.
Dallas was going to kick a field goal, and then eventually Cooper broke it.
Well, I figured, I mean, as close as the game was, I still felt like Philly was going to win the game. Came down to, you could argue, a coin toss.
Literally. And then the ball that he scored on got tipped up in the air, and the defensive back fell down on the ground, and Cooper just walked in.
It should have been an interception, to be honest.
Yep.
Dak knew where he was going to throw it before the ball was even snapped. The corner, if you listen to Amari Cooper's on-field interview after, he's like, Yeah, I've been running a lot of slants since I got to Dallas, and the corner knew I was going to run a slant. He's like, I don't know, it just tipped up to me, and I stuck with it.
It reminded me of that Shane Falco, kind of game from the Replacements.
Yeah.
Like how he always had like luck on plays. He'd throw it at like somebody's helmet, and John Madden's trying to break it down. He goes, so you'll see, Falco will throw it off the guy's helmet, catch it himself, fumble it, then hand it off to the big man. Big man then pitches it back to Falco. He goes in, and like they acted like it was like a set play. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, Philly loses. Zach's now 8-6. Yikes.
Jeez.
Still better than me. We'll get to that in a second. Big Webb leading the way. Still loses last week. He's 9-5. Dad, your thoughts on the Chargers not covering the 14.5?
I blame that on myself. I tell you right now, I made a comment last week. I said, when I texted you guys, I said, tell Zach Zook I'm going to go flying by him right now. And I bragged.
Jinx yourself.
And it bit me in the ass right there.
I gave you that. I opened the door for you.
That's right. It wasn't Phillip Rivers. It was Tony Weber. I did it myself. I'll never do it again.
All right, so there you have it. I mean, Dad actually had a shot there for a while. Chargers started to kind of pull away, and then the Bengals got a late touchdown, and that's what kind of sealed it in. I just thought 14.5 was a big number when you're away from home. They were in Cincinnati, right? I believe.
They were.
Yeah.
I very nearly picked them, but I was not about to pick Jeff Driscoll.
I'm just not a fan of big spreads, but it was close. Big Webb lost that one, though. He's 9-5. Go ahead, Dad.
I'll tell you what, boys. You know how you get a feeling in the middle of a game before it's even like halftime or just early in the third quarter. This is not going to cover because of the way these guys are playing, and you could just tell they couldn't put Cincy away, and Cincy kept hanging around. I knew that one early was not going to go, and it was.
Don't you hate that? Isn't that just the worst? Like it kicks off at noon, and by 12:20, you're like, yeah, no, like
they're not
these
playing
three
well.
are not. Yeah, they're not going to hit.
Exactly. Especially like TJ said, when you're looking at a monster spread like that, and you can just tell it's a lackadaisical. They're not, not giving it everything, and it's like shit. This ain't gonna go. So anyway,
I will tell you though, Dad. I mean, you always stick in there till the end, like I do usually. I mean, I get kind of down in the fourth quarter if it doesn't look good. But you had a buddy, if you want to tell a story, that used to give up if the opposing team would run it back on the opening kickoff.
My buddy Clem, we used to get together in my other buddy's living room every Sunday, and he's got his big gulp and his hot dog, and he's sitting down there. He's laying on the carpet. And he's got one hand behind his head, and the game kicks off. They run it back. He goes, I'm out of the pool. He gets up and he walks out of the guy's living room at 12:04. 12:04.
Still 14:50 left in the first quarter, and he's out the door. That's it. So funny. Again, before we get to Week 15 picks, my lock. So I've had an interesting season. We all know out there, all the fans, everybody here at the table, and Big Webb on the phone understands that TJ Weber's locks have not been working out. So what I did last week is I did the complete opposite, Zach. I loved Kansas City minus 6.5. I mean, you're at home, you're at Arrowhead, you're scoring at will. You got probably the future MVP, Patrick Mahomes. He's just playing lights out lately. So I took Baltimore. I love Kansas City, so I took Baltimore. And son of a bitch, did they not cover? They freaking covered 6.5. Unfreaking believable. I mean, I got the recipe. I don't care if it's a good or bad recipe. If you know I'm going to suck, pick against me. I'm as good as any of those people going 75% against the spread. I'm 75% against my lock, so that means you take the opposite, and you still get the same thing. So take what I'm going to do it again today. Whatever I love, and I don't know what it is yet, whatever I love, it's going to hit me in my brain, say that's the number one pick. I'm going to go complete opposite.
I love it.
That's what's going to happen. So
that's technically it's not a lock. It's an open door.
No, it is a lock. It's absolutely a lock because I love it so much that it's a lock because I love the other team so much.
It's an anti-lock.
I mean, it's a lock because my picks suck. That's basically what that is. But it's funny.
1 for 1 on the anti-lock.
It's funny, though, because it's similar, or actually opposite to Big Webb. See, I'm leading the entire picks. I hit on the majority of my games. Just the ones I key on, I don't. See, that's the opposite of Big Webb.
I was the opposite for a while, but now I just suck all the way around.
Get together.
We do. Exactly right. So there you go. So I'm leading the pack overall. Big Webb at 96, Zach at 97. I'm at 102. Locks, though. Big Webb leading 9-5. Zach 8-6. I'm 5-8, but hey, 1-0, baby, in the last week. Let's go. That's all that matters. Opposite day. That's what I'm going to do all day long.
I love it.
So, yeah. So, again, you're welcome to pick with us, 314-877-8597. A little bit more of a pre-breakdown of last week and everything before the picks that we usually do. We went 20 minutes, which is okay. We had a fun week in Week 14, so we had to talk about it a little bit longer. So let's get into the Week 15 picks. This is going to be an interesting slate because you start out again with another big-time game on Thursday. This is probably, by the way, the best Thursday night game of the season. This is also probably maybe the best game of the year so far. The reason is because of how well the Chargers have played. Everybody's been talking about Kansas City since they started out hot, since Mahomes proved that he was a better option than Alex Smith for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're minus 3.5 at home against the Chargers. The fact that the Chargers keep getting overlooked, how many times have we talked about how good LA is this season, but no one's really paying attention to them because the older brother, Kansas City, is one win ahead of them and in the AFC West, and they're scoring all these points. Well, now it's going to be proved at Arrowhead. Who's the best team? Because if the Chargers win, technically they'll tie the AFC West and be leading because they'll have the tiebreaker. So I'm going to take Kansas City in this one because they're at home. I think that they know how big of a game this is. This is the division right here. They win it, they're going to seal the division away. If they lose, the Chargers may sneak up and push them back to a wild card spot. I mean, if you ever thought Kansas City would be in a wild card spot in this situation at this time with 12 wins on the season, unbelievable, or 11 wins, I'm sorry, on the season, I mean, it's unheard of. So with that remark, I'm going to say the home field advantage will help out. I believe it's going to be a close game, but I think that Kansas City will pull away late and win by at least 7. So give me the Chiefs against the Chargers. Big-time game on Thursday.
You know if Melvin Gordon's going to play Thursday?
He is questionable. They are still looking at him. Austin Eckler, however, their backup running back, officially out. Yes.
Right. So I saw that he was questionable. Also saw a little video of him doing pregame work Sunday, even though he was declared inactive. He looked pretty good. I think he's going to play. I think he probably could have pushed it Sunday, but the Chargers, knowing they were going to have this obviously gigantic divisional game looming on Thursday, decided to hold him out. I would anticipate Gordon will play. I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. I think that they'll be able to cover 3.5. The Chargers, while I do think they're an excellent football team, just always seem to shrink in these big moments. There was a really big game between these two at the end of last year with the AFC West up for grabs, and they just didn't show up to play. I think the Chiefs will rebound from a tough day at the office. They still were able to pull out a win when they didn't have their A game against a really good Baltimore defense on Sunday. I still think that the Chiefs are the class of this division. I expect them to win.
I'll tell you what, boys, just like TJ said, this is must-see TV Thursday night. It's the best Thursday night game of the year. I agree with that. Must-see TV, must-watch Sasquatch. Red Rover, give me the over. I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of points scored in this ball game, and I'm excited to see it. I like the over better than any team, but give me the Kansas City Chiefs minus 3.5.
Wow, this shocks me. So we swept with Kansas City. It's that home field advantage, man, and your back's against the wall. You have to win.
Well, in the Chargers, have they ever proven to you that they can win the big one? They never have.
In the entire career of Philip Rivers, I mean, you want to talk about – it's not even his fault either. It just seems like if he plays well, the defense does.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not hating on him at all. It's just history.
It's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Okay, so we all take Kansas City minus 3.5 at home on Thursday. We move on to the first noon game. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Saturday game. We have 2 Saturday games this weekend. I totally forgot about that. That just shows you how much show prep I do sometimes. Houston is at the New York Jets. Jets getting 6.5 points. That game at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to take Houston in this one. Horrible loss, and what I mean by horrible, they were in the game till the end, but had 9 straight wins. Let the Colts, who got shut out last week, or I should say the week before last, against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston just didn't really play well. They came out kind of slow, and Indy showed that they're still a team that could be scary and still has some playoff implications in the next few weeks. I think that Houston's going to bounce back here. I know the Jets came back against Buffalo late, but they looked terrible in the first half last week. Awful. They're at home. I'm still going to take Houston. I'm surprised this is not at least 7.5 points. So for that instance, I'm going to take Houston, and we'll win by at least a touchdown, probably more.
I'm rolling with the Texans, too. The Jets just aren't a very good football team, plain and simple, and the Texans finally had that winning streak snapped. Kudos to you, Big Web, by the way. You picked the week that it was going to snap, and we all thought you were crazy, so good for you on that one. I think the Jets are going to get the pissed-off Texans team. The Jets version of MetLife is not very hard to go play at, even if it's on a Saturday and it's a standalone game. I think Deshaun Watson and the offense will do enough to put up some points, and I also think, I just really can't see the Jets scoring a ton of points against Jadeveon Clowney, T.J. Watt, and the guys, J.J. Watt and the guys.
The Jets played well last week against, like you said, come back against Buffalo, pretty good defense. I think they're going to be in the game with the Texans, and I'll take the 6.5 points. Give me the Jets, Jets.
Wow. Okay. I never expected anybody to take the Jets in this situation, but okay. What do you like about them?
Expound.
The points is what I like about it.
Okay, that's fair enough. He takes the points. So me and Zach take Houston. Big Web's got the Jets. Okay, Zach. He's taking the Jets, all right?
He's taking the Jets.
Okay.
Hey, we called him crazy last week, and Texans lost.
They did.
He won that game,
Yeah.
so good for you, Big Web.
It's fair enough. We move on to the other Saturday. This is a Saturday night game. It's at 7:20 Central Time. Cleveland Browns, who broke my heart last week, they head out to Denver. Denver minus 3.5. Denver not playing well, got beat by San Francisco. That was my big pick. I just had a feeling Frisco at home was gonna flourish. This one's tough for me because I think Cleveland's playing some pretty good football. Baker Mayfield. I mean, Zach, I know I talk about him every week, but this guy's gonna be a stud. I've really now changed my whole mindset from going. I used to say Baker was gonna be good, or I had a feeling. Now I know. I know he's gonna be productive for at least a few years. They got something special coming up there in Cleveland, and someone said that may be the top spot for a coaching position right now is Cleveland, the way they're kind of going. So
I can't believe that.
Isn't that crazy, though?
But, it's
Nick
tough
Chubb's
to,
playing well. I mean, Landry's doing his thing finally. I mean, they got a lot of scary weapons.
I think you're still a psycho to want to get hired and have to work under Jimmy Haslam. I think John Dorsey and all the personnel people over there are great, but if I had a chance to work with Aaron Rodgers, I would take it. Now, of course, I'm a little biased, and a lot of people love the Cleveland job because of Baker's age, because you've seen him for a year, you know he can play, and you will presumably have him throughout your entire tenure as the coach. Plus, whoever they do hire, if they turn around, will get an exorbitant amount of credit for turning around a franchise that's been dead for decades. So, yeah, hard to believe, but Arians said he'd come back and coach Cleveland. He very well may be who they end up hiring. They have been playing better football lately. I think Baker, to kind of take the conversation away from the game, to your point, I feel like he's never going to be a top 5 guy in the league. But I feel as though he's certainly going to be a franchise guy. Of the guys I'd compare him to today that aren't top 5 quarterbacks, but they're franchise guys capable of winning a Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco? Is that what you're? I think he's better than Flacco.
He's better than Flacco.
But
I'd put him in like the Stafford, Derek Carr range.
I don't put Derek
Kirk
Carr in that.
Cousins.
Don't you dare say Derek Carr's name was Matthew Stafford.
Well, hey, Derek Carr 2 years ago was really, really good.
You're right. 2 years ago, you're exactly right.
He's having a tough go of it with Gruden, and he may be on a new team next year. I'd put Stafford ahead of Carr as well, but they're all kind of in that same range, and so like Stafford's a borderline top 10 quarterback. That's what I'm getting at.
Not this year, but it's just, yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
I think that's around where he'll fall. In terms of the game, Broncos really let me down. I thought that they had a chance to make that last wild card spot. That dream is basically shattered. But I think that they're going to win. And
you're taking Denver?
3.5. Yeah, I'll take Denver one more time.
I'm going to take. I'm taking Cleveland. I think that Denver without. Oh my God! I just totally Sanders. Oh my God! I mean, I had a whole hot take going on, and then sometimes your brain just shuts down. Emmanuel Sanders. They just looked bad last week without him. Sutton really didn't do much, so he's supposed to be the guy to step up. They don't have many weapons there in Denver anymore after trading Demaryius Thomas, we mentioned a couple weeks ago. So to me, I think Cleveland's the hot team right now out of these two. So give me the Browns.
Cleveland's very hot. They're hot on both sides of the ball. I'll tell you what, when you get a rookie quarterback 3/4 of the way through the season and they start percolating, it's something. You'll see that back in the past with a lot of rookie quarterbacks who turned into something. I think, like you said, Mayfield's going to be the real deal. Give me Cleveland this week. basically because the Broncos really pissed me off last week and cost me the pool.
You and
But,
me both, Big Web.
I think Cleveland's got a lot of energy going on. I'm going to take the energy. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns.
All right, there you go. Dad and I have Cleveland. Zach goes with the Denver Broncos. Move on now to Sunday games. At noon, we have Washington at Jacksonville. The Jags are minus 7.5 points. 7.5 points. So, this game to me, this is tough because the Redskins suck without Alex Smith right now. I mean, they are just not good. Mark Sanchez, Colt McCoy, I don't care who you freaking put in there. It's
Josh Johnson this week.
Yeah, exactly. But they're just not good. On the other side of things, the Jaguars, little stat for you, they have 16.3 points per game this season, the fewest they've had since 2014. They've had the quarterback controversy with Bortles, and obviously just don't believe in him. They're not going to bring him back next year. I'd be shocked if they did, but I've heard reports that they don't plan on it. So, with that being said, I believe the Redskins will cover this. 7.5 is a big number to give to Jacksonville, a big number to give to a very subpar football team that has disappointed all of us, especially this Jaguars podcast, as we called ourselves back in week 1. They have disappointed us several times. So for that being said, I don't care who's quarterback in the Redskins. Jaguars will not cover the 7.5.
I had that same logic. I had that same battle in my head because the spread's large and both the teams suck. You would think, okay, well, I'm not going to bet a 7.5 point spread. And I started thinking about it, and I think the Jags personnel is so much better than what the Redskins have after all these injuries. Would not be surprised if the Redskins get shut out. Like,
Interesting.
is Josh Johnson going to throw a touchdown pass? No.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, obviously they could stumble into one. The Redskins could, win the game. I just feel like the Jaguars defense should completely shut down the Redskins. I'm talking, I'll be surprised if the Redskins score double digits in this game. They shouldn't be able to move the ball on the Jags at all with the personnel that the Jaguars have. And I understand Cody Kessler's the quarterback, and yeah, the Jaguars' offense is very, very bad too, but they do still have Leonard Fournette. Maybe he stumbles into the end zone for a couple. Maybe they get the run game going for once. I'll bet on the Jaguars just because I think their defense is going to shut down the Redskins that bad. I think that they'll win a weird, low-scoring game and cover that spread still.
You're right, Zach. The Jaguars personnel is a waste of talent. Unbelievable where they've come from the beginning of the year. We were all over them. I can't believe what has happened this year with these guys. And they got a lot of guys still healthy, but they just suck.
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
It's like the expansion franchise disease.
Jesus, you got to throw it at the coaching or something. But right now, there's no answers down there. But guess what? Give me the Jaguars minus the points because Washington's worse.
All right, that's fair. That's fair enough.
Hashtag analysis.
That's fair enough. Let me tell you who I really blame for this Jaguars season. It's this podcast. All three of us, what are the odds that we did not talk about it, we swear on it, that we actually all separately picked the Jaguars to win the Super Bowl? That's what did them in. That's what absolutely did them in, is us all picking the Jaguars to win the Super Bowl.
Should we write them like a letter of apology? Sorry,
I think we
ruined
should.
your season.
Yeah.
I think if they lose out, I think if they only have 4 wins this season, I believe we should.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair enough.
Dear Shaka Khan, sorry. That's it. That's all you got to say.
That's all you had to say. Dear Tom, I'll write
Sorry
to Coughlin.
you own a NFL franchise in a city, Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah. Sorry you're having a bad time, but we all picked you guys to win the Super Bowl, and we feel like we made you guys suck. That's all you got to say. So, anyway, Dad and Zach have Jacksonville. I got Washington by myself, plus 7.5. We move on. Oakland takes on Cincy. Cincinnati's minus 3.5 points at home. That game's at noon on Sunday. Well, yeah, this game's going to be crap. Bengals are on a 5-game losing streak. The longest losing streak they've had since 2010, Zach. The Raiders have looked better, I will say. They have been able to score a little bit. They're still not a good team. They still are going to have one of the top picks in the NFL draft next year. The only thing is that obviously Cincinnati is just a little bit worse. I think without Dalton, they're just a little bit worse than the Raiders, and even though they played the Chargers tough enough to cover a 14.5-point spread, see how I threw that in there? They really weren't that close. I'm going to take the Raiders to cover this one. I don't think it's really
Whoa.
tough. I'm going to take Oakland on the road plus 3.5. I really think it's going to cover.
That was a pick that I was able to nail last week. I took Oakland over the Steelers, and they actually hit it for me. So that means I can't pick them again. I'm picking the Bengals minus 3.5 at home. I think the Raiders are still hot garbage. I think that the Bengals should have some success on the ground. I got Joe Mixon. I bet you he'll rush 80 yards and 2 tubs. I think that the Bengals will get it done at home. Do they cover the spread? I could see it being a field goal game, but I feel a little more confident in the Bengals than I do the the Raiders on the road. That's more what it comes down to than anything else.
I tell you what, Marvin Lewis sucks. I don't know what he's got a job for. I don't understand that at all. I also had the Raiders last week. I liked that pick, and I like the Raiders this week in an outright win against the hapless Bengals. I do like Mixon. I think he's got a little talent, and he can move the football, but it's not enough. Give it to Gruden and the Raiders this week.
All right, so me and Dad go with Oakland. Zach goes with Cincy.
You know what's crazy about that Marvin Lewis thing too, Big Web? I don't think he's going anything anywhere this year. I
He's
don't
been
think
there
they're
how
gonna fire
long
him.
now? Since Palmer. I mean, he's been there for 14 years.
I've been thinking I thought he should have. I was so adamant that he should have gotten fired like 4 seasons ago, and I've just been reiterating it every year since. But I think I heard because of the contract, because they extended him last year, right?
I guess. Yeah,
And
you're
so
right.
because of
You're
the
right.
contract, I heard that it's not really easy to get out from under him this year. He's going to be the coach next year.
What do you think his record is? Both of you. What do you think his record is?
Well, I'd put him right around
Career?
500.
His career record, yes.
400.
He's in his career, including the postseason, which, by the way, in the postseason, he's 0-7. 0-7.
Yikes.
Career, he is 130, 127, and 3. Just over 50%.
Wow.
So,
That's
Zach, you had it.
Well, because he's made the playoffs a decent amount of years. They just can never win.
He's been the head coach since 2003. 2003.
Jeez.
He must have won his first 130 games then. He was 130-0 because he sucked.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, the guy's had a run that you could just sit there and clap at. I mean, honestly, it's unbelievable the fact that he has a job making tons of money being a football coach and being subpar.
What year did Belichick take the Pats job? Not too far before
98?
Around the turn of the century, the turn of the
Was it
millennium.
right before they played the Rams in the Super Bowl? So it would
I
have been.
think
98.
it was right around that time period. And you think of all that he's accomplished during his tenure. Lewis, just a couple years behind him, hasn't done shit.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that works out because in the NFL, a lot of people make the joke, haha, not for long. Well, Marvin Lewis is showing that maybe that's not totally true. Maybe you can be subpar and stay in the NFL.
And Sam Bradford's got $70 million in his pocket.
God,
What the hell?
that seals it right there. Why this league is crazy sometimes. The fact that Sam Bradford's sitting there on a yacht and just throwing hundreds off the boat for fun. I mean, that's what he's doing. Unbelievable.
Kirk Cousins, $84 million guaranteed, too.
That's sickening, too. 314-877-8597. Your thoughts on all that's wrong with the NFL. Move on. So we got another noon game. Arizona heading out to Atlanta. The Falcons are minus 8.5. The Falcons suck. God, they're bad. The way they played, I knew the Packers were going to come to play. I knew they were going to beat whoever they played, but Atlanta just fell down. They scored 13 points in the fourth quarter, but only scored 7 for the first 3. This is what they've done all season. They're 4-9. I mean, I know they're better at home. They're 1-5 on the road, but God, they're bad. I mean, it's unbelievable with all the talent they have. Even with Devontae Freeman going down, you still got a good back. You have Julio Jones, who obviously, if he's double covered, you got Sanu. You got Calvin Ridley in his rookie season, having promising numbers in the first 5 weeks. And Matt Ryan, who's just one of the biggest roller coasters I've seen all season, MVP caliber for the first 6 weeks, then goes down, then goes back up, then goes back down. You don't know what the hell this team is. I mean, the defense, you can blame it on injuries. They've had a lot of them. But the offense is just sickening. I mean, it's crazy how they cannot score in the red zone. We go back to that first game, that Thursday night game in week 1, the opening game of the entire season. They could not get in the end zone, in the red zone. Unbelievable. And you blame it on Steve Sarkisian, the fact that the offensive coordinator and the offense in general just can't get into the end zone. You blame that a lot on the play calling. It's weird to even think about picking Atlanta. The only reason I'm going to do it is because it's against Arizona. I mean, that's the only reason. And the fact that Atlanta has 3 wins at home compared to 1-5 on the road. They're a better team at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. They have a better opportunity to hopefully get a win here, hopefully cover the 9 points or 8.5 in this situation, and should beat Arizona. I would not be shocked if Atlanta blows this because that's what they've been doing. But give me Atlanta. They should hit it, but doesn't mean they will.
I'm picking Atlanta too, and you're exactly right on the Sark stuff. I've hated him all along. I think that he is an absolute joke. I don't think that he can really design or run an NFL offense. I don't even know if he can run or design a college offense. Has he had any success in the last 10 years? I mean, go back. The guy was an alcoholic at USC, came back to the NFL. He's failed upwards, and I think finally they're coming home. The chickens are coming home to roost. And he's going to be the scapegoat this year because you're absolutely right. With all the defensive injuries they've had, Dan Quinn kind of has a free out on that one. They've just been decimated. The only injury, I think, on the offensive side of the ball is Devontae Freeman, and you mentioned it. They have 2 very capable backs. Tevin Coleman would start on any other football team most likely. And, yeah, you're right. They have 3 reliable receiving option pass catchers. They have Tevin Coleman, who's fantastic in the passing game. Austin Hooper, even top 10 tight end this year statistically. So they just can't figure it out. Sark is awful. He's got to go. I know the defensive injuries probably cost them the playoffs. It doesn't make you that bad, though. And so I think part of it's for sure on Sark, and he's probably going to be the fall guy for this, as he should be. He blows. So I'm still going to take the Falcons just on talent alone. I think they'll win in spite of all that and still cover the 8.5.
Atlanta's got problems on the offensive line, boys. That's what's been going on. That's what's been bothering them, and the skill positions are suffering because of that. These guys are not what they used to be. In the beginning of the year, we thought the big names were going to happen there, and it's just not working. I'm taking the Cardinals plus the 8.5 because the Falcons are be given 8.5 points to anybody. Give me the Cardinals and the points.
All right. So I don't hate the pick, though. I really don't blame you. As bad as Atlanta's looked, they have lost 5 straight, tied for the the biggest losing streak right now, active in the NFL. They have not won since Week 9 against Washington. They've lost to Cleveland, Dallas, New Orleans, Baltimore, and Green Bay. So you can go ahead and say that they have played some good teams. But to be honest, the way they've been playing, they haven't scored 20 points. They scored 20 points for the first time in 5 weeks. So they scored 20 in Week 7 against the Giants, had a bye week, then scored 14, 16, 19, 17, 16, finally 20 last week. And they had 13 points in the fourth quarter. That tells you how bad their offense has been.
Jeez.
Unbelievable. So there you go. So me and Zach take Atlanta at home, are rolling the dice on that one, and Dad takes Arizona plus the 8.5. Move on to another noon game on Sunday. Tennessee heading out to the New York Giants. The G-Men are minus 2.5 points. Saquon Barkley finally showing what he was picked to do. Run the football, catch the football. Whatever you want him to do, he's going to do it. I mean, the guy is absolutely a stud. I'm still sitting there, and I know this is an old story, and I shouldn't talk about it anymore, but the fact that Cleveland didn't draft him number 1 and then took Baker at 4 is astounding to me. I know Denzel Ward's been good for them on the defensive side of the ball, but you could have Barkley and also Baker Mayfield.
Maybe. You would have got a quarterback, but would you have gotten Mayfield?
I think Mayfield would have been there. I really think he was the last one of that
What do the
group.
Giants do it too? Trade down?
Trade down or take Rosen.
Because if you trade down, whoever's coming up's getting
See,
a
I
QB.
think if Barkley's not there, I think they either trade it or take a quarterback. That's what I thought they would have done. Anyway, the Giants are playing better. We've been mentioning they've been looking like the Giants that we thought were going to be here. They absolutely steamrolled the Washington Redskins last week and just looked like the team that we expected, even without Odell Beckham Jr. And again, a lot of that has to do with the way Barkley's been playing. I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants in this one. Tennessee is getting 2.5 points. They're always that scary team. Derrick Henry's not going to do what he did last week. He's not going to have a 99-yard touchdown run. He's not going to get over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Giants. It's just not going to happen. So with that not happening, Tennessee really still is that kind of teeter-totter team that I don't really trust. Giants are playing well, so give me the G-Men.
I'm going to take the Titans in this one. I love the spread in this game, and I think the Giants, to your point, they're playing a lot better football, and it's been kind of nice to see. I thought coming out, Saquon Barkley was maybe the best running back prospect since Reggie Bush. Potentially, in terms of running style, the guy reminded me of Barry Sanders. That's how good I thought he was at Penn State. And obviously, being a Michigan fan, I watch a ton of Big Ten football. I thought he was better than Zeke. I think I'll be proven right on that over time. He's just an exceptional football player. And what's more than that is what he brings you off the field. Come to find out, he's the leader already in the locker room over Odell Beckham and Eli Manning, who've been there for years. He's the guy that has been the captain of the football team that's rah-rah on the sidelines, pumping the offense up, telling the defense good job when they get a stop. He is so unbelievable. I just think the Titans are a better football team this year. I think that they play more disciplined. They are a weird team, but I think Vrabel, who has had success in both his playing career and his coaching career, has him playing the right way. And I think that the two things that travel when you get this deep in the season are defense and running the football. Titans can do both. I think the fact that they're getting points in this is just gravy.
Zach, you mentioned the spread. I think the spread's in the Giants' favor. It's only 2.5. So
yeah, it is. Did I misspeak on that?
Well, I didn't know what you meant by it.
And you're taking Tennessee, right?
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee. I love the spread.
Okay.
All right. Well, this spread here, I mean, the Giants are at home, and it's less than a field goal. I think Barkley's going to be able to roll. I do kind of like the under here. I think this is going to be a running football game and a lot of smash mouth. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair and a field goal game. And I'm going to take the Giants. Although Tennessee, you're right, it's been playing better. But I just don't think, like TJ said, I don't think the big back's going to be able to do what he did. You don't break 100-yarders every day.
Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are going to just have a little bit more than the Titans here. Give me the Giants.
Yeah, I agree with Dad. I think this is a favorable spread for the Giants, not the Titans.
Really?
Because it's less than a field goal. And also, the Titans, the reason that people are saying why the hell are the Giants favored, because they're 5-8, the Titans are 7-6. The Giants are on a roll, 2-game winning streak, have won 4 of 5, and haven't scored less than 20 points since, well, at least 20 points since week 8. So they've been really scoring of late. But also the fact that Tennessee's 2-5 on the road. I mean, that tells you the story right there. 7-6, 2-5 on the road. So I agree with that. I'm going to take with the Giants' whole pick, and why I agree is I think that's a slam dunk pick because of the spread. But that's interesting. I didn't know you thought the opposite.
Well, I think the Titans are going to win the football game. I think that they're a better football team.
Sure.
So that's why I love the spread. Anytime I have a team that I think is going to win, and in addition to it, you get points. That's always nice. Mm-hmm. So. I mean, the Giants could certainly win. It's cold. It's tough to go into that cold environment. A lot of times it's very, very chilly. The Titans aren't. I wouldn't call them a warm weather city necessarily. They play in some cold weather, so I don't think that they'll have the toughest time, but you're right. They're a weird team. They're not the most consistent football team in the world. That's why you see them around 500. So I don't fault you for picking the Giants. I just happen to think the Titans are going to win the football game.
All right, so there you go. Zach has Tennessee. Dad and I go with the New York Giants. Move on to another noon game on Sunday as the Minnesota Vikings will host the Miami Dolphins, and Minnesota is minus 8.5 points. 8.5 points. This spread's unbelievable to me. The way that Miami's been playing, the way that Minnesota has really been just slow, and Kirk Cousins just doesn't look as good as a lot of people expected. His stats are okay, but he's just not consistent. I can't believe the fact that the Dolphins beat the Patriots. They're 2 games back of the AFC East. I know there's only 3 to play. They're 2 games back, though. They have a chance to make the playoffs. I understand they're 6-1 at home. That's the reason for this, is because they're 1-5 on the road. But 8.5 points to a team that has a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, come on. You saw that last week.
To a team that has a better record than them.
I know, and I know they play well, and they step it up against Brady, and they step it up at home. But Tannehill looked good last week. And even when he went down, Osweiler stepped in for a bit while he was out and in the locker room. I got to take Miami. I mean, I don't know what the catch is here. I mean, I'm shocked that it's 8.5 points. give me the Dolphins. The way they've been playing, I think they're going to cover that easily.
So the Vikings fired their offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, after the Monday night game against the Seahawks. I guess there were a lot of tensions. I think we could debate all day why he got fired, whether he deserved it. It was very clear that he and Zimmer, who's an old school defensive guy, just were not meshing very well. I think that the Vikings are going to bounce back and cover this thing. I know that's kind of crazy. I think that because of the recency bias, since the Dolphins came off that big win, everybody is, the Dolphins are playing well. Dolphins are playing well. They're going to cover this thing. They very, very well could. I'm going with the narrative of I think that this offense will perform a little better now that Flip's out the door. I still think Flip's a good coach. I think he could end up getting a head coaching job at the end of the year. He was a lock to get a head coaching job after this year when the season started, and I wanted the Packers to take him for a while. I still think he could get hired as a head coach even after being fired as an OC. But I do think that the Vikings will be a little bit more galvanized and perform as a unit. You mentioned the record at home. They've been solid with the exception of the Buffalo game. So I'll take the Vikings to cover this one in one of those weird, unpredictable games where the Dolphins had been playing well. The Vikings are coming off a suck fest. It feels classic NFL that they would cover this.
Boys, Dolphins have been in a lot of games this year. This number is definitely fat. Give me the fish in this one, plus the 8.5 points. Minnesota, does that roof open? They should open it up and let the snow in because otherwise these fish are going to cover the spread.
All right, so there you go. Dad and I have Miami. Zach has Minnesota. Real quick tidbit, Minnesota has had fewer than 300 yards of offense in 4 of the last 5 games. That's been the big story there. So, Miami, and Minnesota. Move on. We got Dallas at Indianapolis, another noon game on Sunday. Indy minus 3.5 points after the big win to break the 9-game winning streak for Houston last week. I'm going to take Indy in this one. It's a low spread. I know I might be the minority here because of how well Dallas has been playing, but to me, Indy's just that team that has been continuing to kind of stay in the thick of it and really play at the right times. I think they're still in the kind of the weeds waiting to see if they can kind of swoop into a playoff spot. Andrew Luck always plays well at home as well. I'm going to go ahead and take Indy in this one. I don't love the 3.5. I wish it was 2.5. That would make me feel a lot better about it. But just to pick the game and for fun, I'm going to say Dallas falls in this one.
My stance on the Cowboys, I still feel as though I think that they could be one of those teams that loses a home playoff game this year. I think just because of their America's team and because there's constant attention around this team, everything they do gets a little overhyped. That being said, I'm rolling with the road dogs. They're 8-5. The Colts 7-6. I do think Andrew Luck's going to be able to put up some points in this game. Ultimately, though, I just think the Cowboys are going to find a way to win and get to 9-5. Colts are playing for their playoff lives. The Cowboys look as though they're going to win the NFC East. You could go with kind of a little bit of a trap game for the Cowboys or one that they may just be disinterested in. I don't think that's the case. I think the defense will show up, and they have the longest winning streak in the NFL right now, so I expect that to keep going.
If I'm not mistaken, gentlemen, the Cowboys have been home their last 2 games, and that's when the resurgence of their defense has really blossomed. They've been smash-mouthing at home for sure.
Yeah,
now
you're right. It was home against the Saints on that Thursday night, then they went home against Philly.
Right. So now on the road against Luck, I'm going to go ahead and take Indy also here. And I tell you what, if Dallas does it on the road, they're really going to be proving something to me. But not this week, I don't think. Give me Indy here, and look for Dallas at home to be another smash mouth defense for future picks. But give me Indy here.
Don't hate it.
Yeah, and also, Dad, they haven't not only just played 2 straight, they played 3 straight at home. So kind of going on the road could change the feeling, you know what I mean? And they might get out to a slow start. Indy could take advantage. So Dad and I go with Indy, and Zach goes with Dallas in this contest. We move on. Green Bay heading out to Chicago. Big-time NFC North matchup as the Bears are minus 5.5 points. I think I'm going to be that guy again here and go with the upset. I'm taking Green Bay. They proved a lot to me last week. That shows me you get rid of the right guy and this team starts to flourish. I know they were at home, and I know they were against a team in Atlanta that has just sucked. Chicago is one of the best teams in the NFC, especially at home. But I just have a feeling about this game, about Aaron Rodgers staying with it. Even though he really doesn't have a chance to make the playoffs, they'd have to win out and have some help. I still think he wants to prove a lot to people. He wants to prove that he's still got a lot left in the tank for the rest of his career and to give Green Bay hopefully a shot at the Super Bowl next few years, but also the fact that he wants to beat the Chicago Bears. I'm going to take Green Bay plus the 5.5. I think even if they lose the game, they'll keep it close enough within a field goal.
I'm going to take the Packers, too.
Woo!
Shocker, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
They're 5.5-point dogs. And by the slimmest of margins, still alive for the playoffs. Yeah, it's interesting. You fire that McCarthy guy who was calling the plays, and all of a sudden the offense explodes, huh?
Interesting. You've been saying it since week 2.
Yeah, geez, what are the fucking chances? It's not that as though Philbin's a great play caller, but they certainly played a whole heck of a lot better. I think that the home field advantage that Chicago possesses is kind of thrown out the door a little bit because Green Bay has that same home field advantage when they play at home. They're both Midwestern teams that play in cold cities, and they're used to it. By the way, last time the Bears beat the Packers at home at Soldier Field, 2010.
Wow.
So the Packers still everything to play for. If they win out and they get another loss from, I think it's like Washington, the Panthers, the Eagles, and one other team, which is going to happen because of the schedules. Like the Panthers play the Saints twice, and Washington might not win another game. You know, the only thing that might not happen is the Vikings now have to lose 2 of their next 3, so that's probably not going to happen. The
Never know.
Craziest scenarios about it is Packers probably aren't winning out, and the Vikings aren't losing 2 of 3, but as the old Dumber Dumber saying goes, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Well, the Packers got those Lions coming up in a couple weeks, Zach.
They
so,
do.
You better watch out.
They do. Even after the Bears, if they can get them, they have not beaten the Lions this year. Then they get the Jets. That should be an easy win.
Real quick stat before we get to Big Web. The Bears, you mentioned, have not beat the Packers at home since 2010. That was the last time they clinched an NFC North title. They clinched the NFC North with a win here. So there you go. Would be the first win against the Packers at Soldier Field since 2010.
It would be sweet for Bears fans. I know.
And would be their first division title since 2010. So something to think about. Big Web, what do you got?
Boys, I think it's going to happen. I'll tell you what, I think the Bears are going to do to the Packers what they did to the Rams last week and put pressure on them. I haven't liked Green Bay's offensive line all year, and I don't like them this week. So give me the Chicago Bears minus the points at home, and we'll see what happens.
All right, Dan goes with Chicago. I would have been shocked if there was a clean sweep. I figured somebody was going to take Chicago. I thought I was going to be alone on Green Bay. So Zach and I go with Green Bay and Chicago for Dad minus 5.5 at home. Move on, Tampa against Baltimore. The Ravens are minus 8.5 points at noon. We're almost there, folks. We're almost at the 3 o'clock games. Baltimore minus 8.5, as I mentioned, against Tampa. I'm going to take Tampa in this one. They just totally shit the bed last week for me. I had them. That was a huge pick for a while. They shut down New Orleans. They play better at home. The fact that Lamar Jackson's supposed to play, he was kind of banged up last week. That kind of plays into it. It also plays into it that you got one of the best passing offenses still in Tampa, getting 8.5 points. That's always scary if you think about taking Baltimore. I think the spread's too big. So for that instance, I'm going to go ahead and take Tampa Bay. I think they'll move the ball just enough. And I said one of the tops, and I was actually mistaken. They are the best passing offense right now, but also the Ravens are the number 1 scoring defense. So that could be an interesting matchup. I just think 8.5 is way too big of a number. Give me the Bucs.
Yeah, you took it. You took the stat right out of my mouth. I'm picking the Bucs too, and it's a large reason because they've been able to put up points. If there's anything Dirk Cutter has going for him in his next job interview, it's, dude, I had the best passing offense in the NFL with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jameis Winston.
Right.
Pretty impressive when you think about it. The problem is their defense is like Swiss cheese, and the Ravens should be able to score and run on them. But I think, again, the number's too fat for a team that can pass the ball and score points.
I'll tell you, boys, I'm taking the Buccaneers for the same reason you don't hug a porcupine. It's too many points. Right. So it's way too fat. Winston and the boys will be able to move the ball, and Ravens will be with them, but they're not going to cover. Give me the Bucks.
There you go. Tampa, clean sweep, getting 8.5 on the road. Move on to last noon game. Detroit heading out to Buffalo. The Bills are minus 2.5 points. Lions coming off a win last week. Shocker. I'm not used to seeing Detroit win any games, but they played good enough against the Cardinals. But again, it was against the Cardinals. The defense played well, shut down the Cardinals all the way through the third quarter, gave up 3 in the fourth. Again, it was Darius Slay and the fact that he got the pick 6, which really kind of separated the game. Still didn't play well. I'm going to take the Lions in this one just because it's against the Bills. This only scares me because of how well Josh Allen has been running the ball. Never thought he was going to be this good of a mobile quarterback, but he is. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions because the Bills gave up that late lead, and I just think their defense is good at home, but sometimes they can just kind of fall off, and I think one of these weeks Stafford's going to step up and have one of his 3 touchdown weeks. I think it'll be against the Bills, and the offense just isn't good enough to keep up.
I think that the Lions' quick little resurgence is going to come to an end in Buffalo. I am going to take the Bills against better judgment because I do think the Lions are probably a little bit more talented of a football team. I do love the Bills' defense, and I do think what Josh Allen is providing the offense is working for now. As much as I don't think it's going to work long term, and as much as I think the Bills are still they're in trouble long term as a franchise, the Buffalo defense leading the league in total defense, number 1 in that category. I think that they should be able to shut down Stafford on the road. Although they play in the Midwest, they're in a dome. It's going to be freezing in Buffalo, I'm sure. And I think Josh Allen should be able to give them trouble with his legs like he has some other football teams this year. Spread is low enough. I'm gonna roll with Buffalo and see if they can get me a win.
You hit it, Zach. Dome team. Outside, if it's 27 degrees in St. Louis, it's going to be worse than that in Buffalo. And the spread's only 2.5. Same reason as the Giants game earlier. Looks like it's going to be, even if it's a field goal game, we're in good shape. Give me the Bills.
All right, so Zach and Dad go with Buffalo. I'm alone with Detroit. Move on to the first 3 o'clock game. Seattle heading out to San Francisco. Frisco getting 5.5 points. As they won the game outright last week against Denver and obviously covered the spread, getting points as a home dog last week. I'm going to go with Frisco again because what really impressed me about them is they moved the ball without Matt Breida. Matt Breida was out of that game, their top rusher. Seattle's going to give up a lot of yards to him, I believe, in this game. And Frisco is a team that they got a lot of work to do. They got a lot of things that need to improve. But you got George Kittle. You got obviously, that quarterback just playing so well. Even, again, when Garoppolo dropped out, they've had that carousel going on. They're starting to play better at the quarterback position, and Kittle just gives them enough of a target to at least move the football down the field. Seattle, I think, again, in a divisional matchup, I know it's a playoff type of game. I think they could win it, but I think San Francisco will keep it close enough because of Matt Breida coming back. He's supposed to be questionable, but they're saying he's going to start because of the way he can run the ball. I believe against Seattle. I think that Frisco is going to go ahead and cover the 5.5, so give me the 49ers.
Don't hate the cover. I think that they could definitely cover 5.5. That's always a risky range whenever you get 2 teams where the matchup you don't think is going to be easily determined by one team or the other. I'm going to roll with the Seahawks to cover 5.5 because, I mean, they do have everything to play for. They're probably going to end up as the 5 seed if they continue to play well. They have the best running offense in the NFL, most rushing yards per game. They really got it going with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. Even Davis, they throw him in there every once in a while, and They do an exceptional job. They also have an elite quarterback under center in Russell Wilson. Defense plays well enough. And again, when you're traveling late in the year, you want a defense first and foremost, a running game second. You'd like to have them both, but those are the 2 things that you need when it gets late in the year like this. And the Seahawks can run the football, and they should be able to hold San Francisco down reasonably well. They got Nick Mullins in there, for God's sakes. It's not exactly Joe Montana back there. So I think the Seahawks should be able to cover.
On the other hand, I'm going to take Frisco. I'll tell you what, they're getting the points. Plus, Seattle's not what they are at home when they're a little bit different team on the road. Frisco made it happen against Denver last week, who I thought was a pretty good football team till that game. But anyway, give me the Niners and the points here at home.
All right, so Dan and I go with the Niners. Zach goes with Seattle. Zach, real quick stat that could make you a little happy. Russell Wilson has more wins, it's 11, for San Francisco than any other team in the NFL. So I know they're divisional. Right. They played more because they're in the same division, but that has to make you feel good.
Yeah, just looked it up, too. Talked about the Seahawks defense a little bit. They do have the 6th scoring defense in the NFL, too. So they can play defense and run the football.
We'll move on to the last 3 o'clock game. Big game. New England heading out to Pittsburgh as Steel City is plus 2.5 points at home. Listen, if it's any other week, I would take Pittsburgh at home. If it's any other week, I would take Pittsburgh against New England the way that New England's been playing here and there. I think Pittsburgh at Heinz Field could absolutely roll over them. Let me tell you something. The fact that you give up that late touchdown to Miami on 3 laterals, so you let the guy run 70-plus yards, Bill Belichick, there is no freaking chance that New England does not win this game. There's no chance that they lose this game outright. Can't happen. Give me New England minus 2.5. There's no way they lose after that freaking shit last week.
You would think, right?
You think it has to.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I'm going to take the Steelers and the Steel City. It came down to the Jesse James whole catch debacle last year. I think the Steelers have so much more to play for this week than do the Patriots. The Patriots are not going to end up with a bye, I don't think. It's the Chiefs, or are they the 2nd seed?
They would be, I guess, because the Chargers technically would be a wild card, even though they have the second best record.
Right. So the Pats maybe do have a little bit more to play for than I had originally thought with that 9-4 record. But the Steelers, after laying an egg on the road against Oakland,
losing outright.
Right.
Yikes.
They've always been a team that's a little dysfunctional, and they always have distractions, and they do shit like this. I think that they'll get it back on track. They play down to their competition, but they also play up to it. I expect Big Ben to have a better game. I think Antonio Brown is going to go off. This will be a classic tilt between 2 rivals that go at it every year, it seems like, and it's always a good game. I think Heinz Field is going to be electric. The home field advantage is a big part of the reason I'm taking the Steelers, so I'll take the terrible towels for this one.
Boys, this is a tough game. I've been going back and forth on this thing. It's for all the reasons you guys mentioned, too. I mean, the bounce back for the Patriots and the fact that Steelers are at home and it's time for Smash Mouth December football. This is a real tough one. I'm going to go where the spread tells me to go, and I'm going with the Patriots in the field goal last minute to win it and cover. Give me the Pats. And it's a scary game. But I think it's going to be must-see TV. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Also, James Conner may be out again, so that could play into the Steelers a little bit. Also, if you like history, Steelers are 3-11, only 3-11 against the Patriots since 2001, including the playoffs.
Wow.
So that tells you anything. Tom Brady and the boys have the Steelers number for sure. But with that being said, me and Dad go with New England, and Zach goes with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Move on to Sunday Night Football. Philadelphia on the road against the L.A. Rams. Rams are minus 9.5 points. I'm going to take L.A. in this one, just the way that they played last week. They laid an egg, almost literally laid an egg against Chicago, got on the board and scored 6, but honestly, they just look bad, and I think at home they want to really come out here and just score 40. I mean, I think they have a chance. Philly's been terrible. They've stayed in some games late, but overall, they have had one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers I've seen in quite some time. So I'm going to take the Rams. I think 9.5 is not too bad. I think at home they just need to show that they are ready for the playoffs, that they're ready and they're back to their first couple weeks of the season type team, and in the first 10 weeks that they were just rolling over teams. I think they want to roll over whoever was the next matchup after losing that game to Chicago, and it just happens to be Philly on the tracks. So give me the Rams, and they're going to just run them over.
I think you're right, too. McVay will have them ready to go. Remember, this game was so awesome to watch last year, late in the year. It was the game Carson Wentz tore his ACL, and the Eagles held on to win that one, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Rams want to kind of get them back for that. That was a really well-played football game. The Eagles will not have Carson Wentz this week, so I do think the Rams are going to cover the 9.5. I probably would have picked the Eagles if Wentz was around, just because I feel like he gives them a little bit of a floor, even though they're struggling mightily, as you noted. But especially without him, the Foles magic will not continue in the Coliseum.
There was a Phillies beat writer on the radio today talking, and they talked a little football. They did confirm that Wentz will not play this week.
Mm-hmm. That also has a play in it, right?
Say what?
I said that also plays into it. You're right.
Oh, absolutely. And then Foles, I just don't think he's ready for this Ram defense, and the Rams are back out in the California sunshine. Give me the Rams in this one, minus the 9.5.
All right, so we all take the LA Rams, and really not much else to say. Eagles just aren't that good, and Wentz isn't even playing. Move on to Monday Night Football, last game of Week 15. The Saints head out to Carolina as the Panthers are plus 6.5 points. You want to talk about disappointments. The Carolina Panthers have been absolute trash the last few weeks. Absolute trash, Zach. I mean, they've been playing so bad. They're 1-6 on the road, 6-7 now on the season.
Jeez.
And have one of the worst losing streaks in the NFL. I mean, it's been a horrible, and they're still somehow second in the NFC South. That tells you how rough that division has been. They've lost 5 straight, though. They have not won since Week 9 against Tampa Bay. It's been a rough go for Cam and the boys because a lot of these games have been decided by 7 points or fewer, but it doesn't matter. You got to finish games out in the NFL. They go against now probably the top team, maybe the entire NFL, and New Orleans Saints. Doesn't get easier. I think that Carolina is going to score some points against this New Orleans defense. I think it's going to be a big game that I would look at the over for, but as far as the game is, 6.5 is really kind of a slap in the face to New Orleans. I think it should at least be a touchdown and a half the way Carolina's been playing. I don't care if they're at home or not. Give me the Saints minus 6.5. I think this is an easy pick.
Really? I'm going to take the Panthers.
Again?
Yeah, I'll take them
You love
again.
getting hurt, don't you?
I'm not going to lock it. That's for damn sure. I think that this will be a high-scoring game, like you mentioned. I would take the over in this game. The Saints have struggled on offense lately. If I watched a lot of that Bucs game, and against Dallas, obviously, as well, but they looked out of sync all day long, and good football teams find a way to win even when they don't have their fastball, and the Saints were able to do that. They also were still able to cover the game. I think that 6.5 is a little too much to give them on the road against a Panthers team that's still fighting for its playoff life. As bad as they've been, they do still have a chance if they can get it together and rattle off some wins. I think they're dead. It's New Orleans, Atlanta, New Orleans is their next 3 games. So they're basically is Ron Rivera's as good as gone. If you truly think that he's on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs, but I do think that they'll play well this week because they do still have everything to play for. I think they'll give a solid effort, come up a little short, but I think that it should be a 1-score game.
So, boys, 2 weeks ago, New Orleans kind of shit the bed there, and then they came back last week. In the second half, they were the same rotten team in the first half, and it was a big surprise to a lot of people. Then in the second half, they came back and started playing football last week, so I think that was a good sign for New Orleans. I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think this is definitely going to be an over possibility right here between New Orleans and the Panthers. I'm going to go ahead and take New Orleans on the road, minus the 6.5. Hopefully they're the team they were 3 weeks ago. We'll see.
There you have it, Monday Night Football. Dad and I have New Orleans, and Zach has the Carolina Panthers, and that'll do it for all the picks for Week 15. Let's get to our locks of the week. Now, I mentioned that with my whole deal, I was so bad that I decided whatever game I absolutely loved, I'm going 100% complete opposite. I did it last week. Loved Kansas City, so I took Baltimore. Guess what? Baltimore covered. So guess what? We're going to stay with that same thing. New England lost last week on the horrible play at the end against Miami. They're pissed. The spread is only 2.5 points. Tom Brady, 3-11 Pittsburgh is against New England since 2000 and since 2002, including the playoffs. This is all completely on New England's side. There's no way New England cannot cover this game. For that instance, I love New England. I'm taking Pittsburgh plus 2.5.
Love it. Love it. The anti-lock of the week.
That's right. Pittsburgh, if you want to win money, you bet Pittsburgh plus 2.5 this week. James Conner or not. I love New England. That means Pittsburgh's going to cover. 100%.
So I'm going to pick a new team that I have not locked, and I haven't locked this team yet this year. I don't know why I haven't. Just didn't love the spread, I guess. I'm locking the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams with Nick Foles in there. I think the Rams should cover 9.5. I see this game, especially coming off a loss against Chicago in which they pretty much got embarrassed. I mean, their character was getting called into question after that game. I think that they're going to come out and just absolutely shit rail the Eagles in this game.
Shit rail. I like that. Shit rail.
Yeah, I think that they are going to just destroy them. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a 31-10 score at the end of this thing. I really like McVay and the Rams this week, and that's going to be my lock. Please, 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 God, get me off the schneid.
I like the pick.
Shit rail.
I like that. I like that saying. Oh, shit. They're gonna shit rail the
Flip that
Eagles.
off. Flip that off. Shit.
You just put a little tip for you guys. This is a little pro tip. Just put shit in front of like whatever you're gonna say. Shit pump, shit toss, shit rail, the
Shit tackle.
Yeah, whatever. It works for everything.
I'm gonna make a shit sandwich. Okay, then I probably wouldn't say that, right?
You ever watch Trailer Park Boys?
Yes, absolutely.
That's where Jim Leahy, you kind of get it from him because he says shit.
You know what that reminds me of? It's Christmas Vacation when Ruby Sue comes in and she says, "Yeah, I thought you were Santa. You freaked me out. I was shitting rocks or shitting stones. So you shouldn't say that. Oh, I'm sorry, shitting rocks."
Yeah.
Pretty
I just watched that on the big screen in the theater the other day. $5.
Nice.
Pretty nice deal.
Pretty good movie. Big Web, what do you got?
That's like bleeping out son of a. Hey,
Right.
we got a double lock here. I had the Rams as well as my lock this week.
There you go. Hey, you guys both need to get back on the winning ways. I mean, both of
We
you
do
were at the
need
top
to.
and both fell off.
Yeah.
So now going together, I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
The whispering winds of shit are a-changing.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Big Web, last thing we have is your Big Four plays of the week. He is 31-25 on the year, 2-2 last week. What do you got this week?
Gentlemen, we're going to start out with the bookend overs. So we got Thursday night and Monday night. Go with the over in both games. We got two high-scoring contests. I feel real good about both of those. I got a couple long shots in the middle, gentlemen. Actually, no, one long shot. The Cleveland Browns against the Broncos. Give me Cleveland plus the 3.5 on that Saturday contest. Gives you something to do on Saturday. Tell the wife to take a hike and bet that game. Now,
That's the real reason you bet it.
on the Sunday night, take those Rams, like Zach said. Take those Rams and move past the Eagles and Foles and make yourself a little money there. So there's our four picks: the bookend overs, Cleveland, and the Rams.
All right, so over L.A. Chargers in Kansas City, 53.5. Big Web says over Sunday Night Football. Correct? Is that what you said? Sunday night as well?
Monday night.
Monday night. Sorry, Zach. Monday night.
Yeah.
Over.
Thanks.
New Orleans, Carolina, 52 points. Over. That's what he says. Cleveland, plus 3.5 against Denver. They'll take Cleveland. And then the Rams with Foles, minus 9.5. So you got the Rams, you got Cleveland, you got the over in a Thursday night game, you got the over in a Monday night game. And that's Big Web's best four plays of the week. And gentlemen, that is week 15. Final thoughts before we wrap it up.
Love it. Let's get back to our winning ways.
Big
I
Web.
couldn't have said it better, Zach. Do it. Let's make it happen. It's time to get back on. No more shit rail.
Yeah.
Back on the
No
rail.
more shit railing out
we
here.
can't get shit railed in the picks anymore.
No more that. We're going to make a T-shirt that says shit rail now. Or it's going to be our thing going into next year. We'll say it all the time. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, hit that subscribe button if you have not. Give us 5 stars. We appreciate the support. Make sure you spread the word. And also follow us on all social media at Balcony Brews Pod. You can also always call in on the voicemail inbox, 314-877-8597. Thanks, guys, for listening. For Big Web, for Zach Zook, I'm TJ Weber. See you guys next week, and good luck in Week 15.